Hello, we'd like to show you how to start a new project in IQRF IDE 4.63. Since February 2022, the creation of a new IQRF project has been significantly simplified. The startup package will no longer be downloaded from the IQRF website, but you just need to install a new version of the IQRF IDE, and all the necessary files will be downloaded from the IQRF repository, depending on the project type, the choice of hardware, operating system or DPA. After starting the IQRF IDE application, select New Project in the Project menu and then select one of the 5 options: IQMESH Demo, IQMESH App, Non-Networking Demo, Non-Networking App, or simply Empty Project. The IQMESH Demo corresponds to the default project that you could find previously in DPA examples in the startup package. The Non-Networking Demo corresponds to the default project that you could find in the startup package in examples for IQRF OS. The other 3 options are new. Let's first show you how you can create a new IQMESH Demo project in 2 steps. You name the project, specify a directory for the working files, and you can enter a description. In the second step, you choose for which hardware, operating system and DPA you are creating a project. You can read the IQRF transceiver type if you have hardware connected to your computer. It is also possible to read DPA version from the connected IQRF transceiver. The operating system can be selected from version 4.03D. After clicking the Finish button, a project with all the necessary files will be created. There is a custom DPA handler that you can compile to prepare for uploading to an IQRF transceiver. You will find here also the basic plugins for the coordinator and node. The project looks the same as you previously opened the demo project for DPA from the startup package. Next, we will show you how to create a project for a DPA application where we will be able to select additional files. In the first step, we will again choose the project name, directory and description. In the second step, we can choose the type of hardware and the operating system, the path to the compiler. The path to the default compiler is preset. Next, we choose the DPA version and whether we want to add DPA plugins and custom DPA handlers in the next steps. Selecting handlers will increase the total number of steps in this wizard. In the next step, we choose the documentation files and whether the ones stored in the local cache will be used, or whether we want to copy them to the project directory. If we check Create Folder option in the project window, the documentation files will be clearly arranged in the project window. In the next step, we will select DPA plugins for the coordinator and node, and again we will choose whether to copy the files to the project folder and whether to create a folder for these files in the project window. Because we chose to be able to add a custom DPA handler, we have the option to select such a file in the next step. We can change the size of the window with the offer of handlers as needed. We can use the filters at the top of the dialog window to make it easier to find the handler we need. Some handlers need additional files for their function, and this will be automatically added to the project as well. Clicking on the file name will display the source code in the associated editor. In the next step, you can change the handler name, copy the header file to the project folder, and use relative paths. If you need to add additional handlers to the project, you can do so by right-clicking in the source area and selecting the new custom DPA handler. The next step is the same as in the wizard. You can compile the handlers for your hardware. In the project window, you will find all the files you have selected in the wizard. You can see a clear sorting into folders. Next, let's see how to create a non-networking demo project. The project is the same as the default project for IQRF OS from the startup package we used previously. In the 2 steps of the wizard, you will specify the name of the project, the directory where the files will be saved, the description, and especially the version of the hardware and operating system. In the project properties, you see the description you entered. The fourth option is creating a non-networking app. Again, enter the basic parameters of the project, hardware version, operating system, select the documentation and its location, select an example or template. In this case, we have selected an example for range testing, link checker. We can choose the name of the example or template, the output directory, the location of the header files, and the use of relative paths. We can then compile the selected example for our hardware. The last option is creating an empty project. In the first step, we choose the default parameters such as the project name, its location, description, and in the next step, the hardware and operating system version. We can then add DPA plugins or custom DPA handlers to the project by calling up the necessary part of the wizard via context menu. For more information on creating an IQRF application, we recommend watching other video tutorials from the Tutorials from 2019 section, where most of the procedures remain the same.